we have a test tomorrow, an end of unit test for the basics of geometry. We're actually studying geometry until the end of the year. So just the basics is lots of vocabulary. So I'm going to go through this review for the practice test and make sure you have the right answers, especially if you weren't here. So we're going to use this diagram to follow the questions. It says, be mindful of notation. If it's a line, show me with your notation that it's a line. If it's a line segment, that's a different notation. Array is a different notation. So number one, give two names for the plane. This parallelogram is representing a plane. Planes don't have borders. They go indefinitely in all directions. So this is just a basic representation. And there are two ways. If there's a capital letter on your plane, that's one way to name it. Another way to name it is three points that are not in a straight line. So the only ones you cannot use are A, B, and C. You can use A and C, but have D be your third one, or E be your third one. Or you could do D, E, B. I don't know. It's hard for me to write every single answer, but the only ones you cannot have is A, B, C, because that could name a totally different plane. All right, so name three collinear points. That means they're on the same line. So I'm noticing on this line here, I've got points A, B, and C. Number three coplanar points. Again, lots of options. So our options are A, B, C, D, and E. We just need to pick three of them. I'll put all of them here. And it's okay if these are in a straight line, because lines that are collinear are also coplanar, but they cannot name a plane if they're in a straight line. Okay, 3 points, same as this. You could pick anything from the A, B, C, D, or E. Rays are kind of fun. They start with a point, and they head off in one direction with an arrow. So one that I'm noticing is B, that's heading out to A, or B the other direction, what's heading out to C, the letter C, not like the ocean C. All right, you can name these on the opposite direction. So you could name it ray AB, but make sure that your arrow is headed to the A. And you could name this one CB, but make sure the arrow is headed towards the C, just like in your picture. We wouldn't want to use BD because they've got specific endpoints with no arrows. That is going to be a line segment specifically. That looks really sloppy. Let's try that again. You can use line segments that are on a line. So like from A to B, that's a line segment, as long as my notation is correct. BC is also a line segment. I can switch the order of any of these. Super fun to correct, right? But I will be careful and make sure I give you all of the points that you need. So naming two lines, if you just put cursive L, it's not enough. Here you've got to tell me plane R and line R. Oh, this is the cursive L, by the way. I don't know what it looks like on your paper. It definitely doesn't look like a cursive L. There's another few lines we could name. Oh, no, there's one more. It's either AB or you could call it BC. This is all the exact same line. You could call it AC, and then you can switch these letters around, switch them around, switch them around. So lots of ways to name this line because it's got 3 letters on it, and we only need 2 to name a line. Or if they give you a lowercase cursive letter like they do here with the L, that's one other way you can name a line. Okay. When you find the midpoint between 2 points, you're finding the average. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2, that's how you find the average. You add numbers together and you divide it by the number of values. So this is my formula that I'm using for the next couple problems. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So 3 plus negative 5, negative 2 plus 7. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. And negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. 7 minus 2 is 5. And 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Same formula here. These are my 1s. These are my 2s. So I'm adding my x's. I'm adding my y's. 4 plus negative 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. The pictures are a little bit different. You can find the ordered pairs, but most of us like to use this. So this is, the x's added together would be 2. Right, can you see there's 2 away? So I'm just going to go halfway between that. And this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3 and a half is going to be here. So I go to where those meet. And it looks, and then I come back to the origin with my eyes. This is where my eye is. My eye is right here. So half and up 2. Okay, so this one I've got 1, 2, 3 over, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lots of fractions on these. So I go over 1.5. And this one, it's 3.5 is right in the middle. So meet those together. My eye is at the origin now. So I go back 1, 2.5. And down 1.5. If you hate this method with the lines and the arrows and the stars, if you hate that, that is not a good way for you. Tell me what this ordered pair is. Tell me what this ordered pair is. Be very careful, because if you get that wrong, you're going to get the problem wrong. And then you can use the formula. So add my x's. Add my y's. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 divided by 2 is negative 2.5. 2 plus negative 5 is negative 3. Negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 1.5. So I get the same answers. It just, especially with these halves, the drawing method is kind of difficult. So maybe you don't want to use the drawing method. Maybe you want to use ordered pairs. Okay, and then use the formula. Same answers though. This one says to find the distance. So the distance formula comes from the Pythagorean theorem. x2 minus x1 squared, a squared, plus b squared equals c squared. So we're just taking the square root of both sides. On these ones though, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On these, I don't necessarily, I can use different methods for the picture as I have to do with the ordered pairs. So I can just straight up use the Pythagorean theorem. A lot of kids like to just plug this into their calculator. That's my distance, round to the nearest tenth. Let's try the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Some students, I noticed when they got going too fast on this, they did that. Does it even make sense that this would be 2 and 6 and 40? Like, are you kidding me? It looks pretty close to 6. It should be about the same answer as 6. So if you notice you have this ginormous number that does not make sense with the legs of your right triangle, come back and see what happened. Maybe you dropped the square, because the square root of 40 is not the same thing as 40. It's going to be 6.3. So C equals 6.3. Again, I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. All right, for these ones, I am actually going to use that formula. So the distance, this is my 1s, this is my 2s, x2 minus x1. You can have these switched around, by the way. You're going to get the same answer. It kind of is hard to believe, but y2 minus y1. Again, a lot of people are just throwing this whole entire thing in their calculator, and I'm putting these squiggly lines because I am rounding. To get that answer, I did have to round. All right, this one. These are my 1s. These are my 2s. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Typity type type. You can put that in your calculator. And I'm putting these squiggly lines instead of an equal sign because I had to round. It's about 11.7. It's not exactly 11.7. Okay, very good. Let's look at these last two. Find the length of BD. Well, if the whole thing's 73, and this piece here is 17, I can subtract. Okay. This one's a little trickier, though. It's asking specifically for QR, which is the whole entire shape. And I don't even have any measurements at all. I just got these expressions. So you need to become a super sleuth, a super geometry sleuth. These little dashes in geometry mean that these two pieces, QM and MR, are equal. They are congruent in measurements. So I can use that fact to set up an equation. Put the expressions equal to one another, and I'm going to solve. So minus 2x minus 2x. Add 9, add 9. As always, please pause this while you're solving it yourself, and then you can come and watch and see if you did the right thing. So this feels very accomplished. 5 equals x. That feels like I should be done. Please be careful on these. The question did not say find x. It said find QR. Well, I still don't know what QR is, but I know what x is, so I can use it right here or right here. 2 times 5 plus 6 is 16. Now, this to me also feels like a good ending point. I found it. But they want me to find QR, not QM. So a couple different ways to think about it. Once again, these little dashes mean equal. If you don't remember that, you could plug your 5 into the second expression, and 25 minus 9 is also 16. So at the end of the day, find QR. It is 32 units. That's the answer that it's wanting. On the quiz for this unit, a lot of people just told me x equals 5, and I could not give them full credit. I had to give them partial credit because they didn't finish the question. So be careful on that one. Okay. So it says, why are you doing that? It says specifically to find the area and perimeter of the shapes indicated. This one's going to be some type of a quadrilateral, so let's graph those. I think it's hard to see the origin on these graphs, so I'm going to put a little dot there so my eyes can go back to it easily. -3, 2, 4, 2, 4, -3, -3, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That kind of is hard to see. I like that color, but it's hard to see. Let me pick something else. Okay. Perimeter is when I add up all the outside. 5 plus 7 plus 5 plus 7. I know 7 and 7 is 14. I like doing them in my head sometimes. I know 5 and 5 is 10. So I've got 24 units. These are licorice pieces, 24 licorice pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the area of a rectangle is base times height. And these are square units. These are the starbursts. 1 starburst, 2 starbursts, 3 starbursts, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 starbursts. Okay, this is clearly going to be a triangle. And I would encourage you to just be super careful when you graph these. Use your box and your hoy. Ahoy there, me mateys. Horizontal on Y. Also, this is not labeled. So I'm going to go to where Y equals -2. So my eye is looking right here. And I'm going to -2. And then I'm going to do a horizontal on Y. My next one is X equals +1. So my eye is looking right here. And I go to where X is 1. Vertical line. And then my final one, it looks like, is a diagonal line. It's in slope-intercept form. Orange, lemon, grapefruit. That's what my brain is thinking right now. Okay, this is my y-intercept. So again, my eye is having a hard time seeing 0, 0. So 0, 0 is right there. I need to go up 2. My slope is nothing. Just kidding. It's an invisible 1. So rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. Back in the other direction to make it straight. So I've got to find the area and the perimeter of this guy. I don't even have any of the sides. So let's go and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So somebody asked me during class, so to find the perimeter, do I just do 5 plus 5 plus 5? Not quite. We don't know if the hypotenuse is 5. We've got to figure that out. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We've got to find that distance. Please don't think it's 50. That is ginormous. Your number should be pretty close to the 5. So make sure you take the square roots. I like to write it over here. It keeps my brain straight. Okay, now to find the perimeter. It's 5. I don't know why I'm having fun changing colors every 5 seconds. I would never do this in class. Okay, 5 plus 5 plus 7.1. Okay, and then area for triangles. Think of the formula. So the base and the height are the 5 and the 5, and I know that because bases and heights meet at 90-degree angles. So 1/2 of 25 is 12.5, and these are square units. These are starbursts. So 1 square unit, 2 square units, 3, 4, and you can see these partial ones are going to combine together. That would be 1. That would be another 1.5. That's why you can see my answer has a half. This guy did not have a buddy. Okay, these ones are kind of fun and easy because they already found the hypotenuse, the hypotenuse for us. So perimeter is 3 plus 5 plus 4. And there are units of measurement, so put them down. Area is 1/2 base times height. Why am I not using the 5? Well, height is from the top of your head straight down to your feet. So it's the 4. And the base is the flatso one, created from a 90-degree angle. So the 5, she's got tough skin. She doesn't even get her feelings hurt, but she is not needed for the area. So half of 12 is 6 square inches. Please put those units of measurement. All right, perimeter. Sometimes it helps to put them all the way around. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Area is base times height. Oh, they're the exact same thing, right? No, they're not. This is starbursts, 16 starbursts. Yum, yum, 16 starbursts. These are licorice, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just because they're the same number doesn't mean it's the exact same value. 16 starbursts versus 16 licorices. All right, perimeter, I think it helps to write these all the way around. I know 11 plus 11 is 22. I know 4 plus 4 is 8. And this does have units of measurement. Area is base times height. All right, and then the circle, who has all of its own vocabulary words. So circumference is 2 pi r, and area is pi r squared. So 2 pi, and the radius in this one is 6. And I rounded it to my nearest hundredth for some reason. 37.70 centimeters. If you just put the 7, that's the same thing. I don't know why I was being very particular. So my area is pi 6 squared, so 36 pi, which is 113.1 centimeters squared. Starbursts. Okay. Study away.